What's up guys, Jackson here with No BS Reviews, and today we're talking about the 2016 LCD-2 Fazor edition. I want to go ahead and apologize. I've been sick for the last week, so my voice is a little off. It sounds a little more nasally than usual. I finally sound like the nerd that I am, so I want to apologize right out of the gate for that. But this is a headphone review I've been wanting to do. Disclaimer, I don't script any of my videos. I don't edit them. I do them raw and genuine. That's just the kind of person I am. I'm, down to earth. I'm a pretty down to earth person, and I just like doing that. So there will be screw ups. There will be things I forget to say, and I apologize now. But if you have questions after the video, shoot them in the comments and just let me know. So just usual disclaimer. And one more disclaimer. I did make another video on these LCD2s. About why I returned them. I just bought these again for the second time. I bought them used this time for $700, used like new. And I'll tell you why, because I gave a kind of a semi-rant on why I returned them the first time, and it mostly had to do with planar quality control and how Audeze has fared with that. And it's not just Audeze, it's Hi-Fi Man as well, and just planar manufacturers in general. I've done a little more research, and we'll talk about that just a little bit. And I really do enjoy the sound of these headphones, and I wanted to own them again. I was just a little sketched out by some of the planar quality control and paying full retail price. For the used price, I feel better about owning these. So that's out of the way. We'll go ahead and continue with the rest of the review, and we're going to go ahead and start off by talking about comfort and build quality. So they're really heavy. That's the first thing I'm going to say. They're super, super heavy, like 550 grams or so. Now, I've owned the HD800s and the Focal ELRs, which are substantially lighter than these. One thing to notice is the ear pads are super plush. I mean, they're huge. If you look at them from the back, because they're angled, I mean, dude, that's my finger in comparison. I mean, it's pretty thick with two C's. Yeah, this is my favorite ear pads by far in any headphone. I've owned, like I said, 800s, ELRs, HD600s, Hi-Fi Man 400i's. I've owned a lot of different headphones with nice ear pads. These are my favorite by far. They create a great seal, which honestly I'm going to talk about later and how that can kind of be a con. So, but other than that, everything else feels solid. The last pair I owned was the Shedua wood. These are the bamboo, slightly lighter in color, but the grain is very nice, and I figured maybe going with these would have some benefits over time, because living in Oklahoma right now and moving back to Texas during certain parts of the year, I experience a lot of humidity changes, and I didn't want to have any issues with the wood, with changing humidity and whatnot, and bamboo is quite resilient with that kind of thing. So headphones made of wood, leather, and metal. I mean, there's no plastic other than the little adjustment deal here with the where the yokes sit. Yeah, it's very nicely built. It's very heavy. I don't feel like they're mechanically, in this area, other than the driver, is gonna break. I don't feel that at all. So yeah, they do fit nicely. The cable terminations are mini 4-pin XLR. Nothing to complain about there. A very secure connection, and pretty widely available for aftermarket cables. Weight distribution is, I wouldn't say it's great, because the ear cups are so incredibly, I wouldn't say they're incredibly heavy, but they're incredibly heavy relative to the rest of the design. So because all the weight is centered here, the lackluster ear headband right here doesn't have a whole lot of padding, which, when all of the weight is centered around your ears, it's going to put a hot spot on your head, and they honestly need to add just more padding here, or make them come stock with not necessarily the carbon headband, which is $200, the carbon fiber one, but give them the same deal without the carbon fiber and make it cheaper, make it $50, or make it come stock. I mean, hell, these things are $1,000 brand new. Just give you a freaking headband that doesn't suck, quite honestly. It doesn't suck by itself, but relative to the rest of the design, it sucks. Give us a better headband. We're paying $1,000 brand new if you buy them brand new. And I shouldn't have to shell out $200 more for a freaking carbon head strap, which I don't care to have my headphones look like a race car. I don't care about the carbon fiber. Just give me a head strap that distributes the weight correctly. Okay? I shouldn't have to go find some dude on HeadFi named Loeb that'll make me a head strap for $40, have it shipped, because it should honestly come here on this thing stock. Okay? It should. There's no reason not to. With that said, the comfort isn't bad. Like I said, they're really heavy, but I don't have the scrawniest neck in the world. I've been headbanging since I was like 6 years old, so I'm used to like having my neck thrashed around. The only thing that I would say that peeves me in regards to the weight is it makes your neck sit at a different angle. Like sometimes your head might lean forward too much. It might lean back too much. And it's not necessarily a flaw in the headphones itself, but it's the way your body adapts to having something so heavy on its head. And for me, the back of my neck, because it sits at a different angle than usual, it gives me tension headaches. It's not often that it happens, but because I try to correct my posture, but it can happen because they're much heavier than my beloved HD600s over here. These 600s are light as a feather. So just know that they're heavy. You're going to feel them. Your body will adjust. Your neck will adjust. But if you're really sensitive to heavy headphones, don't buy these. Because if a headphone's not comfortable, there's really no point in having them, no matter how good they sound. If you can only listen for 30 minutes at a time, there's literally 0 point to drop $1,000 on this kind of headphone. Yes, that's all I have to say about that. Regarding my other video where I did return these because of quality control issues, I didn't have them myself, but I've been doing a ton of reading about just Audeze's QC in general, and I'm not going to retract what I said in that video. There is problems. There are definitely problems with planar manufacturing quality control. And it's not necessarily that they're doing anything wrong, it's that the diaphragm is 1/200th of a human hair in terms of how thick it is. These ear pads seal incredibly well. I mean, they literally mold to the side of your head, and when you pull them off, you can feel the vacuum being broken, okay? When you have a vacuum like that, because of how well they seal, you're pulling on that diaphragm if you take these off too hard, because of the pressure it pulls on the diaphragm. I feel like the driver failures, most of them, are because people take the headphones off too fast, or they put them on too fast. And then they take them off too fast because air gets trapped in there during this vacuum, and when they pull it off, they're pulling on that diaphragm, and it can cause it to break. I mean, this thing, it is so incredibly thin. People don't understand. It is so incredibly thin. And unless Audeze or somebody does the R&D to create the diaphragm out of a new material that is much more resilient and can survive those longer excursions and the pressure, it's gonna happen. And I mean, I can't blame anybody else other than the manufacturers, but it's not necessarily their fault. It's the way the diaphragm is made. Okay, but what they did with the LCD-4 is they put like a felt ring underneath the pads, so it's almost kind of like a pressure release valve. But it keeps the seal from being 100% like vacuum tight. And in the long run, I feel like that helps. I can't see why these would fail just out of the blue. But I don't see why, unless you had some sort of weird voltage spike or something strange electrically going on. I feel like these are dying because of mechanical pressure changes and things like that. People taking them off too quickly or putting them on too quickly. Pressure changes. So I've been doing research on that kind of stuff to see why on earth would a driver just fail. I mean, there's definitely more reasons than what I just stated, but personally, I feel like if you take really good care of a product, you can have most products for a long time. So I'm not saying people aren't taking care of their products, because they very well could be, but they may be ignorant to the fact that these seal super well, and the diaphragm is super thin. So you got to be careful of how fast you're taking them on, or taking them off and putting them on. So there's that, and that's why I bought these used again, because I really enjoyed the sound, and I'm a little more educated on why these might be failing. You know, I was like, you know, for $700, like new, if I be careful with how I put them on, be careful with how I put them off, make sure they're always on a stand, we shouldn't have any problems. And if I do, you know, these were still built in like February of 2017, so I've got 3 years of warranty. I'm guaranteed 3 years, okay? Moving on to the sound quality, and I'm sorry, that was kind of a semi-rant, but I don't really care. If anybody has a problem with it, then I don't care. Sound quality is spectacular, honestly. My tastes over time have changed. They have matured. I used to enjoy very bright sounds. I mean, I could listen to an HD 598 with like a 2 to 4K boost. Like, honestly, I could sear my ears off and never heard. I'm not saying I'm treble sensitive by any means, but, you know, I've become more sensitive over time. These are very pleasing headphones. They're slightly dark, but so much more neutral than you would think if you've never heard these before. Whenever you think of LCD-2 and what people say, it's dark and bass. And now, granted, I'm sorry. Granted, they are slightly dark, but they're so much more neutral than people make them out to be. Starting with the bass, it is like reference. It is so flat from the lowest sub bass to 1K. Okay, it is so incredibly flat, and now that gives the perception that there's more bass than there really is, because there's sub bass. There's tons of sub bass. It's there. It's present. Now, it's not knocking out your eardrums. You don't sound like one of the douchebags driving around in his car pounding bass through, and it's not artificially boosted, but it's there. So you do get that fullness to the sound, because you don't have, like my HD 600s here, that, you know, open back dynamic driver, 40 millimeter dynamic driver, sub bass roll off. These don't have that. They're so flat all the way down. They're just bottomless bass. And it's very nice because it's planar bass too, so it doesn't feel slow, it doesn't feel sluggish, it doesn't feel artificial in terms of, you know, like bloated bass. It hits when it needs to hit. You know, it hits really hard, honestly, when it's called for in the mix. Slipknot's got a song called If Rain Is What You Want, and like halfway through the song there's this drum breakdown, and it hits so hard. I mean, it just pounds your eardrums. But, you know, if there's a track that doesn't have a whole lot of bass, you're not gonna hear a whole lot of bass. If there's thunderous bass, you're gonna hear thunderous bass. It's reference quality, but it's planar bass. It will give when it's needed to be given. It's the best way for me to describe it. I mean, it's planar though. It's very quick. So if you've got double bass drums, you're gonna hear the separation between the drums. There's texture. Bass guitars, yes, you're going to hear the texture. It's planar bass. I cannot drill that home enough. These are known for their bass, and not necessarily because it's boosted anywhere, because it's not. I'm telling you, it's ruler flat. So these are not bass head headphones, but they do give an incredibly satisfying bass response. The lower mids, at least just the transition into the mids, is very seamless. There's no bleed from the bass to the mids. I'd say the lower mids are slightly warm, whereas my HD 800s and ELRs are quite dry in comparison. The voices sound very lush and very, I wouldn't say they're super thick, but they give just enough body for them to sound intimate and liquid almost, kind of more wet. And these are just so much more emotional than the HD 800s and the ELRs to my ears, because they're just more natural. Everything sounds live. It doesn't sound like it's being played in a studio. These don't go for 100% accuracy. You know, they're not completely referenced. They do have more emotion than that. And that's where I felt like the HD 800 just kind of fell on its face, because I really did enjoy those. But they were so detailed, so referenced, that you feel like you're listening more for details than you are listening to music. I didn't headbang as much as I normally do. These make me want to headbang, because they provide that level of entertainment that I wish all headphones did. The upper mids are tastefully recessed. I wouldn't say that it's a hole, because the Eliars had a freaking hole, and it bothered me to no end. I mean, it just pissed me off, because I looked forward and everything sounded really good with the Eliars. But you get to the upper mids and it went just suck out, straight up, just gone. Presence in the guitars, attack in the guitars, gone. The snap in the drums, gone. I mean, just a hole. I could not stand it. If you like metal, if you like rock, and you like that energetic punch, it had no energy. It was so incredibly lifeless in that genre, because there was nothing backing it up. What good is a snare drum with heavy impact without the presence region to add that snap to it, to make it sound quick and not completely round it off? I really didn't like it with rock and metal music. It sounded okay with blues. You know, it's just, you lose so much in every genre except for like maybe really bass heavy genres without that presence region. I mean, it wasn't a dip, it was a hole. These are tastefully recessed. They get, you know, like I said, the ruler flat to 1K, and then they slowly trickle down. It's tastefully done. There's no weird dips in there or weird holes. It's just slight. And things are still very present. They're just not quite in your face, like my beloved HD600s, which there's a slight increase getting up to the upper mids, which adds a little bit of grain. Personally, I have no problem with grain, and I personally have no problem with a little bit of recession. But as long as things still sound present and not fatiguing, which these are the epitome of, you're going to have a good time, okay? I really, really do enjoy guitars. Acoustic guitars sound very, very full because of those warm lower mids, and the upper mids aren't so recessed to the point where electric guitars lose their attack. You know, there's songs that I listen to where the guitars still bite really hard. They still make you, they're still very energetic, but they're not, you know, it's not untasteful. It's not artificial sounding. It's just there. It's very beautiful. Going into the treble reminds me a lot of the HD600 treble. It's rolled off, but not incredibly so. You don't lose tons of shimmery detail. I do feel like there's a peak, like a slight peak. It's not bad. I've never felt like it got in the way, but more in kind of the mid treble, upper treble, like snare drums, when they're hit really hard, they have that snap to them. It kind of hits you right in the face, but it's not fatiguing. It's not in an area where you would get tired of listening to these over time, but it adds more airiness and more spaciousness and a little more snap to the sound. And because when you have an area where the drums get big, where you hit a snare drum really hard, without that treble presence area, the drums will sound rolled off because there's a snap to the drums when they're hit hard that creates that impact and creates that feeling in it that really really drives it home. And these have that, and it's a slight peak somewhere. It's not, I wouldn't even call it a peak. I would just call it a little more emphasis on a certain area in the mid to upper treble where it adds a little more energy to the drums, especially for me. So it's the sound signature as a whole is very, very balanced. I wouldn't say it's completely neutral, but it's slightly dark, more neutral than anything, with warm mids, reference planar bass, slightly rolled off highs, and just very, very satisfying and unoffensive, but very entertaining. Soundstage is, I would say, average. It's not hugely expansive. I feel like it comes out about 1.5 feet on both sides. The warm mids make it feel slightly more intimate than it is. Imaging is average. I don't game with these just because of how heavy they are. I use my HD600s because they're just lightweight, and they do a decent job with imaging, and I usually just play CSGO with them. So the built-in software with the game handles a lot of surround capabilities. So I don't recommend gaming with them because they're so heavy, but do whatever the hell you want. If you buy them, you do whatever you want to do with them. So movies sound incredible with these. I watched Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, with these, I'd say, 3 days ago, and man, I mean, excellent. Voices were great, explosions were robust. Just a great experience overall. Accessories, comes with a 10-foot flat cable. I don't like long cables, so I hardly ever use it. I bought an aftermarket cable for $50. It's like 4 feet long because I sit like 2 feet away from my Magni 2 and Modi 2. These aren't necessarily hard to drive. They're not the most sensitive headphones in the world, but at 70 ohms and like, I think it's like mid-90s on the sensitivity, Magni 2 pushes them just fine. I haven't really felt the need to upgrade. On high gain with a -5 dB, I guess, reduction on my preamp for my Peace GUI, foobar, kind of just my EQ. These sit at like just slightly shy of noon on the pot down there. So, I mean, I haven't had a problem pushing them. They sound very full. I don't feel like I need more power. I feel like a shit stack would do just fine. Magni 2, Modi 2, you're good to go. Of course, you can go higher, and there's people that are going to tell you that these will transform with your magic $3,000 amp. You do whatever you want to do. I'm telling you, with the shit stack, I have not felt like I needed more. So, yes. Yeah, they do come with a nice case, by the way. My Pelican case is sitting on my wall up there. I don't feel like getting it down. Just, you can Google what it looks like. It's a very nice heavy-duty case, and if you're going to transport it, you shouldn't have any concerns, because I'm pretty sure you could drop a nuke on that thing and it would turn out just fine. So, yeah. I think that's about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that needs to be said here. They're like I said, they're big headphones. No, don't take these out with you. There's really no reason to bring these out anywhere, because people are going to laugh at you. They're going to go, wow, those are sweet headphones, but it looks like the dude's wearing crock pots on the side of his head. They're aesthetically appealing, to me at least, just not when I'm wearing them. I don't wish to have females look at me on campus, thinking they're going to, I don't think they're going to go, wow, that guy's got some really nice headphones. Wow, it's really fashionable with him. They're huge, okay? They don't look good on your head. So don't take them out with you. There's no reason to. Again, do what you want, but this is just my recommendation. So from there, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. If you have any questions, because I'm sure there's something I missed, drop them down in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I've been pretty good about it. If you liked the video, like it. If you disliked it, shoot me a dislike. And if there's something you want me to do better in each video, just constructive criticism. Trust me, I'm relatively thick-skinned, so you can shoot me a criticism if there's something you want done better. You don't have to subscribe. I do this for fun. I do this to help people. I've worked in tech. I just really do enjoy helping people make more informed choices. And I understand that there's people out there like myself. There's not a whole lot of places out there you can go to demo headphones. So having somebody give you a second opinion is a really big deal. You come to YouTube so you can get more material, because you've never listened to the certain set of headphones that you want to buy, because they're just not available to listen to. So I totally understand, and that's why I'm doing this. So again, thank you guys. Have a good day. And if you have questions, please shoot them in the comments. I will get back to you. Have a good day.